Alright, good morning YouTube. Welcome to Random Acts for Carving. Today we're going to take an ordinary piece of driftwood and turn it into this extraordinary piece of artwork. So if you want to see how this is made, stick around and I'll show you how I did it. Alright, so I'm starting this carving out. I was thinking this piece of wood was going to be a lot like one I did a few weeks ago with the fish fossil on it, but had a similar look to the outside of the wood, but when I started cutting into it, it was a lot more yellow and a lot harder. This piece was pretty hard in some spots, but I was able to cut into it with the burrs on the Dremel, and then I did switch over to the Foredom, so for a little bit more power, bigger bit for the just bigger details, and just as a little quieter to run. So I was just digging his eyes and lips and teeth in, kind of getting an idea where everything was going to be at, and then just start cutting his skull out, shaping it. So here's the Foredom here. This is also a big flame bit on this, but it's 1/4 inch drive. And not very good for details, but it does take a lot of wood off in a hurry when you need it. But this wood was so hard, it was still a little slow. That nose piece was sticking out a little bit too far, so I nipped a little bit off of it. This is his nostril there. I was just shaping it in, kind of getting an idea where I wanted it. I did kind of draw in where I wanted the mouth and the eye and stuff, but a lot of this is just on the fly, just the way the wood was and the way the shapes were coming out around the eye and stuff. I just kind of went with that flow of that and continued the lines on his face and around his mouth, and it's a lot of fun doing this. Once it starts looking like something, it's really neat. Wood was a real bright, well, not bright, but a light yellow underneath of that brown. Made a neat contrast. I'm just trying to blend those lines into the back of his head, right back into the log, the way the log was going, so that looks like this is just his. He was a wood spirit, and this was always been his spirit animal. Was this cartoonish dragon? I had to put a one of those diamond bits in there and just going around the teeth a little bit, but it wasn't taking off much wood, but it would just kind of burn those dark lines in, and gives that line of separation around everything. Try to dig in behind stuff, make it look like it's a separate piece. Carving is a game of shadows, so you got to get that shadow behind everything. Once again, I'm taking that fine tooth, or the fine bit, just going in there and giving that eyelid a separation line. So this is just a diamond bit also. I played around a little bit on the back of it and see if I could make some scales, and it was working really well on the back, and then I turned it around to the front, and the wood I had carved through down to that hard stuff, and I really had to push to get these in there. So it was a lot of work putting all these little scales in, and there's certain places where I would hit it and it would just instantly start smoking. So the wood was so hard. You'll see later on there's lines of dark scales. But the pattern turned out really neat, so I was happy with it. It was a little softer down here on the bottom of his chin. Still plenty hard enough, but it was softer than up on top there. So each row I'm trying to put that tip right in between the two in front of it. So it's like right on a bump every time I'm trying to set it down. Give it a nice scaly detail. Scales are kind of like putting fur on stuff. You want to keep everything going in the direction that it's going. Don't just make straight lines everywhere. You want to curve it around things and try to make the, just like fur, just make it look like it's flowing. You can see there in the middle of the bottom of his jaw where it just turned black, or it's just like a straight line across there where that wood got really hard. Here I'm just taking a drum sander with, actually it's pretty coarse grit, but like I said, this wood was really hard. But I'm just taking the burr scratches out of the jaw there a little bit. Out of the lips, making the lips look smooth, the teeth look smooth. And there he is, all carved out. Okay, so I'm starting off with just, I'm using acrylic folk art paint, and starting off with just, it's a metallic gold color, and basically putting it on everything except his lips, and even put some on his lips probably, yeah. Just to get that gold tint behind everything. And I know there's a lot of painters that probably cringe whenever they see me painting stuff, but but it's a lot of fun. I mixed a little bit of red with some white and made a real light pink color to just put a background on his lips a little bit, and kind of testing out the where the slit was going to go in his eye. And this is all just background paint. It's all gonna get painted over several times, so, but it'll show through and makes neat shadows. So here I was going over it with a light brown mixed with a little bit of white to lighten it up. And then this was wicker white I used on his teeth. Still all just background. And I took some green and just started putting it on there, and it looked a little bit bright, so I toned it down a little bit. Went a little bit lighter on the green, and just kept coating it. I watered it down quite a bit, so it was so the gold would still show through it, and it stayed in there really good. You could see that gold the whole time. So this was just a little bit darker green, not as much white in it. Just went back over the whole thing again, pretty much. And here I added a little bit of black into the green, and then I'm just going around and hitting the shadow areas, darkening some places up. Now this is just a watered down black. Just basically a black wash, putting over top of it. Here I was taking a little bit of watered down brown, going over the teeth. Get rid of that real bright white. Age them a little bit. And here's some bright orange. Actually, I watered it down and just went around the outside edge of that eye to give it a little bit of color in there. Then I went back over the middle of the eye with some gold and just kind of put some gold strands in there. I just had his pupil to paint back in with the black. Just some dry brushing with some real bright green in just a few spots just to highlight it a little bit. Well, I got this week's carving done and it turned out pretty cool. I really like it. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and see you next week.